What's going on, guys? Welcome back to NolanTCG, and we are back here today with another deck profile, and today we're here with Nemesis Thunder Dragon. So this is a deck that I very much treated as a proof of concept, just kind of threw it together to see how it would work, and it worked surprisingly well. So I thought I'd put a bit of a deck profile up on the channel. I do apologize that it's been a little while since I've done one here on tabletop, but yeah, wanted to really put this deck profile out and see if anyone had any recommendations or things I could possibly improve or change on this list, because I really enjoyed this. It's 40 cards, and we managed to get 9 hand traps in here. I did side deck starters in for when I knew I was going first, but I wanted to have protection. So I just want to get that out nice and clear. But yeah, deck was surprisingly good. However, I did lose to cards that don't lose to turn skips. Who would have guessed that would happen if you are Protoss called Dark or a Shartos called Dragon? Sometimes that doesn't win every matchup. A Protoss called Fire that was pretty good. Yeah, but against decks that are diverse, you do kind of lose. So keep that in mind, especially when Colossus can also be played around. But yeah, I'll get you into the deck profile now. Okay, so starting us off for the main deck, we have our Nemesis package, and starting us off, we have our 2 Arch Nemesis, of course. So we've got Shartos and Protoss. Of course, these are our 2 functional turn skips. Worked quite well. There are ways in this deck where if you open well enough, you can generate both plus the Colossus, which is pretty great, because typically if you've opened well enough to do that, you'll also have an Appaloosa on your board. But sometimes that's not enough, so do keep that in mind. And at which point you just lose, because you're probably going to lose that anyway. And then we have our small Nemesis cards. So we've got the 1 Corridor and 2 copies of Flag. Flag is searchable in the deck. I only own 1 copy of Corridor. For some reason, after all these years, I just only have 1 laying around. So, yeah, here we are. However, in this build, it's definitely just a one-off. Like, you can run it at 3 if you want. I wanted to cut as much space as I could for hand traps. The 2 Flag does come up. Because it's something you can normal summon and then kind of bait an interaction at that point. There was a lot of times where my next summon would be Appaloosa, but I hadn't used my normal summon. I had Nemesis Flag in hand and figured I'll normal summon the Flag, see if there's a nib there, which there was. And then I still had the ability to get to the other Flag anyway, which was always good. And then we have, I guess, our engine that we use to search the Flag. It is the Melodious package. So for the monsters, we've got the 3 copies of Refrain and 1 copy of Couplet. This is just your standard, gets you into the rank 4, which is, of course, the Fire one, which searches the Flag, and then the Flag specials. This also sets up the ability to banish your own graveyard, which is important. Sometimes you do need to do that to be able to turn on your Nemesis cards and just give you the ability to extend. You can just normal summon the Flag at the end of the day, like I did say. But there are times where you might want to get the Corridor as well if you've already opened the Flag, at which point banishing out from your grave is really good, as well as when you need to banish the next cards, which are the Thunder Dragon package. So we are playing 3 copies of Dark, 2 copies of Raw, and a Hawk. Pretty much all that was necessary. A second Hawk, I think, may have been useful at times, just in the situations where I'd already used the Raw's summon effect and I've milled my Hawk. It was one time where it got awkward not having 2 Hawk, but I just don't think it's needed to have the 2. Again, I tried to fit as many hand traps in this deck as I possibly could while still keeping it at 40 cards. And ultimately, it led to the deck being surprisingly consistent. I do have the 1 extra starter. This is the 40th card in the deck. It's Aloof Lupine. I did side in the Batteryman Solars to try and turn on the Thunder package a little more. But the Aloof Lupine came up a lot. Just the fact that you play a lot of cards in your deck that you will always have another card of that attribute to banish out. So if you're summoning the Aloof Lupine, you have the Nemesis in hand, you can banish out another card. And then, yeah, off you go to the races because it turns on your Nemesis cards and that gets you into other plays, which is, yeah, really cute. We then had our, I guess, baby Chaos package. So we've got the 1 Black Dragon and the 1 White. Didn't play any other of the regular Chaos Dragons in the list. Again, trying to keep it to 40 cards. Opted to just play the 1 and 1. There was times where I bricked and I opened both, or there were times when I foolished them off Zombie Vampire, which kind of hurt. But at the end of the day, the 1 and 1 was fine. In the situations where I had one of them in hand, was brilliant. Would I play Chaos Space? Maybe. I'd probably try and find a way to at least make that work in here. Then we had our Bestials, so I just played 3 of them. So 1 Mag, 1 Druis, 1 Soronir. Again, adds to your hand trap line, so realistically playing 12. There wasn't a tremendous amount of times where the Bastials came up at locals today, at least at the locals where I tested this out at. Played against a lot of fire. But the one time when it did come up, it won me the game, so I'll take that. Then after that, we are playing just a very small Horus package, so the 3 copies of Imseti with the 1 copy of Quest of Evers or whatever. So essentially, this is here to get you to Zombie Vampire. If you don't need the Zombie Vampire, you can get to the Spell Negate, which can then help you to turn off certain things that you might get worried about. But ultimately, you're turn skipping your opponent. If they board wipe you, the big Nemesis cards can't be destroyed by a card effect, I believe, for both of them. So, yeah, big board wipes aren't the most useful. Evenly matched hurts a little. But yeah, you can typically try and play around it a little bit if you can get to an SP as well. Just make sure you don't Protoss Call Dark and lock yourself out of that. For our hand trap line, we are playing 3 copies of Ash Blossom, pretty standard. I opted for 3 copies of Ogre as my other hand trap of choice. I have a lot of Tempai at locals, and a lot of Horus was something that came up weirdly. Actually won locals this day, so the Ogre would have been useful to have drawn in that situation, but I didn't. And then we have our spell line, which is our 3 copies of Ostinato, of course, needed for the combo, along with the 1 copy of Concerto. This gets you just through to your 2 fusions. Hard opening the Ostinato is the best possible opening you can have in this deck, because it turns on so much in your deck. You can just opening Ostinato is a turn skip. Yeah, it's pretty nice. I think it's actually turn skip plus Appaloosa, which is cute. If you can go the Protoss Call Dark or Calling Dragon, if you're in situations where that is very effective, good times. Then the last spells in the deck, we played 1 copy of King Sark. Yes, playing 2 would have helped a lot. There were times I opened Imseti King Sark, and I'm like, I really would have appreciated just the extra bonus draw here just to see what I could dig into. You can weirdly fit Prosp in this list if you want to try and fit Prosp in going first. Yeah, definitely the space for Prosp. And then the last spell that I had here is Called by the Grave. Yeah, and then rounding out the main deck, 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. Okay, now we do get into the extra deck, and it is a pretty weird extra deck. Like I mentioned earlier, you can definitely play Prosperity in this deck. A lot of the extra deck is just not really needed. There were cards in here that I played that I literally didn't make once, and in testing, I was like, this can come up in this situation. Literally never needed them at all. So we're playing 1 copy of Thunder Dragon Colossus. I did cut the Thunder Dragon Fusion, which meant I did cut the Titan. Probably was definitely space to play the Titan, but the Thunder Dragon Fusion in the main deck was the thing that had me torn on where I make the space. Pretty easy to put this on most of your end boards. You can typically choose, you will always have the choice of putting Colossus or the Nemesis on your board. In certain hands, you get both, which is always really nice. Then we have the 2 Melodious cards that we need for the combo, so the 1 copy of Bacha and the Shuberta. Like I mentioned earlier, the Banishing from your own grave, really good. When going first, it turns on your package, and then you can link off the Shuberta, get the draw off the Concerto. Helps you dig a little bit, which would of course conflict with the Prosp, so do keep that in mind. There's a few reasons why I didn't play the Prosp in the list, mainly hand traps and some of the conflictions on draws. So just talking out loud here. Then we go into the Xyz line. So we've got the 1 copy of Infernal Flame Banshee. Of course, this goes along with the Melodious package to get you to your flag. When we have 1 copy of Zombie Vampire, of course, milling off the top of the deck, you can extend out pretty well from that. And we have the 1 copy of Hope Harbinger for the situations where the Zombie Vampire isn't needed. Then we have our links. One of the most important ones in the deck is Cross Sheep. Naturally, you've got this, and naturally, you've got this. You normally will be able to go into the Shuberta after making the Cross Sheep, so yeah, helps you out a lot in those situations. Then for the other link 2s, we've got 1 IP and 1 SP. These were again the next 2 most used cards in the extra deck for me. We had the 1 copy of Dark. It does come up, make sure you play it. 1 copy of Nightmare Phoenix, again, does come up, make sure you play it. Just the fact of, there was one situation I had the ability to have the Shuberta that still hadn't crowed, and then Phoenix discard a Thunder Dragon, was really nice. Just to be able to get the Thunder Dragon in the grave, banish it out, and then get the extra body to keep pushing. This card shouldn't be here. It's 1 copy of Sprite's Brand. I played this just in the situations where I needed to get an extra attribute or type by sending the flag if I didn't have a way to access it. It was here to fix awkward hands that just never came up. So definitely probably wouldn't recommend playing it. Yeah, you can play literally anything else in this extra deck if you want to find space. Then we had one copy of Nightmare Unicorn coming after that. Just simply a transitional link 3 to get you through the access code that can help you break the board. You do run out of cards in hand quite quickly in this deck. It is a lot of pretty much just playing what you see in your hand, getting it on the board, try and generate the rank 4 to get you through to the flag. So you do run out of the cards to often discard off the Unicorn and the Phoenix. You'll only normally get the choice of one. And then going into the access code is just there to push for game. Normally you can back up a 5/3 access code with a big dragon behind it or a Thunder Dragon, or yeah, there'll normally be something behind to push for the rest of the game. And then the last card in the deck is the one copy of Appaloosa. This card gets made on pretty much every end board you're going to make. So yeah, definitely recommend playing that. But that does wrap us up here for the deck profile for this one. So as always, do make sure to comment down below any recommendations or changes you would make to the list. Yeah, if you have any, I guess, better efficiency cards that I could put into the deck would be great. Playing the 9 hand traps I think was kind of necessary. We're in a hand trap format where it's very much needed. You can just play more flat out extenders. I just didn't think that anything offered the value that I was getting off playing the hand traps. Also, at one stupid time, I definitely ogred my own zombie vampire that had been negated just so that I could put 3 attributes in grave to get the Protoss out. Was quite cute. But yeah, the deck works really well. I'm sure if someone else sees this, you'll be able to run with this and turn it into something that's really broken. That's the main reason why I'm doing the profile. I will try and do more profiles on the channel going forward. I know I've been slack for it for probably the past 2 years now. We used to do these once a week, and burnout is certainly a thing. But yeah, I'm going to try and do profiles for whenever I'm playing something that's interesting, not necessarily super driven to play a lot of straight up meta cards at the moment. Yeah, like I like the meta, but I just wanted a break. So going to be playing some random things and probably bringing you profiles for all of them. But as always, I've been Ben from NolanTCG, and have a good afternoon, everybody.